Hey, everybody, welcome to Real Thoughts with Bob Benham. I am your host, Bob Benham, and I know it's been a while. Um, we have been very busy with stuff as usual, uh, trying to get health issues dealt with and ongoing process as always. And it continues. But here we are. Lots going on in the news as usual with the ever loving Democrats in their usual bash Trump because they've got nothing else going on. Unbelievable. That's all they got. That's all they've got. Bash Trump, nothing else. No matter what Trump says, it's there. He's a fascist. He's a dictator. He's blah 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 blah. Racist, homophobe, transphobe, blah. I mean, just give it a rest, people. Give it a rest. Because if any of that was true, you wouldn't be free to be saying any of that stuff. You'd be in jail. You'd be in re education camps. You would be executed in public squares, all that garbage. Just shut up already. Okay? Uh, Everything you say is a lie. Everything you say is garbage. There's no truth to anything that you say. It's total BS. Okay. And it's to the point now that it it's like crying wolf. Okay. We know it's not there. All right. It's like, saying the sky is falling. It's not happening. I mean, everything that the Democrats and the left says is just lies, pure lies. Nothing that they say is true. They accuse the right of being conspiracy theorists and all that stuff, but who comes out right every time? It's not the left. Everything that they say is a lie. They are the most evil people in the world. Period. That's all there's I mean, that's all there is to say about them. That's it. I have never seen such insanity in all my life. And the further they go left, the more the insanity comes out. The more it's just crazy. And even the people that are supposedly center left are just so far out there now. It it's it they're goners too because they've they have bought into the lies, the craziness, the insanity, um, all of it, all of it. I mean, it for them to sit there. I mean, and all you see, the first thing you see is like, they come up with some garbage opinion piece, and they say, "What do you MAGA people think of this? How do you defend this, MAGA people?" Um, it's pretty easy to defend it. We voted for it because what you're saying is garbage. It's lies. Um, it's not hard to defend it. I would rather have a bunch of people put in jail rather than deal with the crap that's out there. It's not hard. I'd rather have a solution to a problem than to live with the problem. Hello? It's not hard to figure out. So to hear them talk, I mean, oh my gosh, it's like the a good example. This moron Keith Ellison from Minnesota, the Attorney General from Minnesota, sitting there in that hearing the other day about how he facilitated the $9 billion fraud and all that garbage, and he's sitting there going, "No, I didn't. It's a lie. It's a lie. No, no." And they got him on tape, going right through it. It's on tape. It's on tape. How this was the reason why they pushed so hard to have police officers wearing body cameras was supposedly because the cops were so corrupt that they had to have them wearing body cameras to prove the corruption. And yet, all it did was prove that the cops were telling the truth all along. It backfired on them badly, so badly. And it is just so insane how, even with these politicians, all this stuff is it backfiring on them in the worst ways because they are caught on tape. Everything is on video. Everything is either audio or videotape now. And even though they are caught on audio and videotape, they deny it. I mean, even though, like I said, even though they had these idiots are they will deny it. And you know, it kills me because they will flat out fry a police officer in a New York minute if the police officer lies and well, of course, a police officer can't lie because they're sworn to a higher standard. Well, this is what is supposed to be happening with the politicians. The politicians, they're sworn into office, which means they're supposed to be sworn to a higher standard as well. You- That's supposed to be the deal. Um, but it's very far from it. Um, they are the biggest liars. I mean, they might as well not even take an oath of office because it's they're treasonous. A lot of them, especially the Democrats. My gosh, um, I don't I, I don't know what else to call it. They are they're just flat treasonous. That's all it is. I mean, I our politics in this country has just flown the coop. We need a complete reset. A complete reset. And I I the only thing we can do is we would have to completely vote the people that are in out. But that would mean voting for the people that are running against them. And I don't think that's a good idea. Um, in fact, that's a terrible idea. Uh, so, what do you do to have that reset happen? And it's almost to the point where you have to just say, okay, we need to completely just say, everybody that's in office, you're done. And have an open primary. Those that were in office are no longer eligible. Um, Even those that held local offices are not eligible, and just have a clean slate, a complete clean slate. We need to change the election laws because the election laws were changed by those that were in office to favor those that were in office to make it to the point where people like you and me have to jump through so many hoops to try to get on the ballot that it's almost impossible. You have to meet so many crazy requirements just to get on the ballot that I mean, you have to have so much money in campaign funds. You have to have, come up with so many signatures on petitions, and if it's a statewide office, you have to have so many signatures from X number of counties, and so many signatures per county, and blah 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 blah. That it's almost an impossible thing to come up with. I mean, there's just it's how? I mean, I just I don't see it happening. Um, Maybe once in a while, um, you're lucky enough to find somebody that kind of can get through there and navigate it, but it's very rare. Um, and it's just it's rough to do. Um, Unless they have money themselves. I mean, they have the amount of money, the amount it's just costs too much. I know I don't have the money. Jeez, oh man, I mean, I'm on a retiree income, and there ain't no way for me to do it. No way. Um, I just can't. And I don't know anybody that would be able to say, "Hey, I'll finance it, and here you go, take and run with it." Not that I would want anybody to finance it and take and run with it, because what does that mean? That means I owe them. And I don't want to be beholden to anybody in politics, because and I know that is not a good situation to be in. Um, so it would have to, you would have to have it where it's to the point where, um, okay, I'll take your money, but it's with the understanding I don't owe you anything. And they're not going to give you money and not have you owe them. It's not going to happen. So that's just not going to go. Um, so where do you? It's all. no matter what, the old game is still going to be in play. You're still going to owe them. That's just how it is. So how do you get rid of it? You would have to have laws already in place that say, election laws in place saying, okay, you take money donated from people and you don't owe them anything. Okay, who enforces it? FBI? IRS? Who? And I mean, how much time do they spend on that? Because, I mean, you look at the politicians now, they're getting away with everything. Nobody looks into that stuff. Nobody. Look at Nancy Pelosi and the amount of money her and her husband make from insider trading. I mean, they get told about all this crap and they move their money before it happens. And come on. It's not hard to figure out what's going on there. They're doing it in the wide open. They're not even hiding it. And nothing is being done about it. Nothing. Why? Are they that powerful? I mean, this is ridiculous. This is to the point where, this is what Soviet Union was. This is what communist China is. This is beyond ridiculous. This has got to stop. And I'm sad to say, but the only thing that's going to stop it is another revolution. A civil war ain't going to do it. It's going to be a revolution because it's got to stop. I mean, that's the only way it's going to stop it all. Because we got too many morons on from both sides of the aisle. I mean, look at the way this stuff is going down. You got the save the vote or save the American vote or whatever they're calling it. I mean, they've changed the name of it 10 times in the last week. Who knows what it's called now? And save the American vote or something like that. And they can't even get that passed. That's something that should be bipartisan. And the freaking Democrats voted against it 100% for the most part. I think one switched sides and voted for it. And then you had mostly the Republicans voted for it. But why did the Democrats vote against it? Well, it's because they cheat. All you got to do is look at the 2020 election, federal election for president. It's not hard to figure that one out. And and everybody else say, oh, well, the court said, and blah, blah, blah. It never went to court. The judges wouldn't even allow it to be heard in court. Okay? They were dismissing these lawsuits before they even were allowed to be heard. They got to be heard. So, they were being dismissed on garbage grounds. So, to say that the courts would, said that there was nothing to them is not true. You had activist judges dismissing them. You can't tell me that the Democrats weren't going judge shopping and saying, get this judge, and, so that way it'll be dismissed. It happens all the time. And yes, that's exactly what happened. It's called lawfare. It's not hard to figure out, people. Nothing made it past a preliminary hearing. I don't even know what it's called for a civil case, but that's basically the crux of it all. It never made it past the first hearing. Why? One, because these judges didn't have the guts to hear the case out because they didn't want to be overturned if they made their ruling. These attorneys were too scared to go through the whole trial and then have lose their case and then have this reputation of, well, oh my gosh, I didn't win. It's all a game. It's all a game. And attorneys, judges, they all look out for one another. And trust me, they're not gonna allow each other to look bad. Not gonna allow it to happen. Just not going to. I've seen it firsthand. Oh, I've seen it happen more times than I want to count. It is so ridiculous. And I forget who, one of the founders made the comment that lawyers will ruin this nation. And they were absolutely right. And lawyers have ruined this nation. Because now you need a lawyer for everything. Everything. You can't have you can't have a will so when you die, it was supposed to be as long as you had a will, everything was taken care of. You didn't have to worry about probate court or anything like that because if you had a will, it was spelled out how things were supposed to be taken care of, and all that had to happen was it was basically went in front of a judge and the judge said, okay, this is how it's being taken care of, no problem. The judge signed off on it and that's how it went. No attorneys involved or nothing. Oh no, not now. No. No, no, no. Now you have to have an attorney involved. You have to have the court involved, and it's going to get dragged out for years. Even a simple will. Something as simple as I'm leaving my stuff, the proceeds of whatever my estate to my grandchildren. 2 years. And the attorneys get $12,000, $15,000 of the estate. Yes, for doing nothing. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Legalized robbery is what that is. Because somebody in the state house is writing all these laws saying, "Oh, we need to have this law saying the regular person can't go into court and say, hey, this is the will that was written by my grandfather. This is what they said, and this is how we want it taken care of," and then have the judge say, okay. Oh no, can't have that. We got to have an attorney say that, get involved and present it to the judge. And then we have to be able to say, well, this person over here might not like that, so they can contest it now. And well, anything to make it a cluster. Anything to make it a cluster. So the attorneys get all that wonderful money. It's not about doing the right thing. I mean, everything. Filing for a Social Security disability. That should be something that's fairly simple to do. No, got to have an attorney for that. If you don't, you're not getting it. It's crazy. And they get whatever the whatever you get, the Social Security awards, they take a cut of it for however many years or whatever. That's not right. It's just not right. I had to do the same thing for my pension. I had to have an attorney for my pension. The only good thing about that was that I paid a flat fee for that up front, but it wasn't cheap. It was around $4,000 or $5,000 up front. And I didn't have the money for that. It took me a little while to pay that off. Just for a disability pension. That was pretty much, I mean, it was pretty much a done deal. I mean, it wasn't like it was that hard, but the way everything is structured, You have to have an attorney to go through it because everything is fought. Everything. Every little detail. You have to have a lawyer for everything. Well, all you gotta do is look on TV. Look at all these attorney um, firms that are advertising. And you know how much it costs to advertise on TV. It's not cheap to advertise on TV. Obviously, they're making tons of money to be able to advertise. And they're advertising on TV. Hey, hire my firm. We'll get you what you deserve. We've recovered $2 billion. They didn't recover nothing. They stole $2 billion, is what they did. If it weren't for them taking that kind of money and causing the cost of everything to go up because of the money they took from companies, from people, and everything else, insurance companies, so the insurance rates go up. They're part of the problem. They're not part of the solution. They're part of the problem. Insanity. Insanity. We just don't learn. And we'll never learn. We just let it go. We don't stay informed about what's going on. All this stuff is being done behind our backs while we go about our days. And unfortunately, what doesn't help anymore is the fact that we have a media that actually distracts us from that stuff that's happening behind our backs. They would rather talk about some other garbage that's happening than tell us what's really going on. They're actually in cahoots with these lawyers and cahoots with all these people that are power hungry because they know they'll get favors for backing them up than helping us, even though it's us that pays them and gets them their money for advertising because we're the viewer. If it weren't for us watching them, they wouldn't get the money from the advertising. Kind of a backward way of thinking. Ah, well, anyway, thank God football season's over with because I don't follow that garbage anymore. and the controversy over that sad bunny or whatever they called him. I don't know. That was pretty stupid. Uh, Why would you have an act perform in Spanish to a country that's majority English speaking so nobody understands them? And then you look video of the crowd and they're all just standing there going like, what is this? That made sense. And then he's there basically to just bash the United States anyway. And of course, the liberals are like, oh, that was a great show. He was awesome. At least that's what I read from a couple of friends of mine. They were like, yeah, he was just fabulous. He brought everybody together. He just wonderful. And I'm thinking, you don't even understand a word he said. What the hell are you talking about? I'm not going there. I'm not going there. That's okay. You believe what you want to believe. I tuned into the other one, the one that you say where, Kid Rock is a women basher or whatever, and women hater, and all that, or whatever you want to call it. I enjoyed that much better. At least I could understand the songs. I could, you know, enjoy the show. And it was a much better show, by the way. Kid Rock's performance was really, really good. Um, he did one song as Kid Rock, and then he came out and did another song as Robert Ritchie, which is what his true name is. And I have to say that he really impressed me with how he did that. Um, and kudos to him for expressing his faith in Christianity. I will give him all the kudos in the world. Uh, and it was a very, very uplifting show. And there was a couple art. I mean, I'm not a country music fan, so I didn't know most of the artists that were performing. The only one I knew was Kid Rock. Uh, but the artists that performed, they were talented and enjoyable. And a couple of songs that I listened to, I really really enjoyed. In fact, I wrote the songs titles down and got them sitting right here on my desk, and I plan on downloading them so I can have them on my computer and listen to them when I get the chance and when I feel the need to have something uplifting. So, but that's how I felt about it. Um, I had no use for the Super Bowl. The NFL, they lost me as a fan. uh, years ago, and especially when the George Floyd thing. Well, basically, the Colin Kaepernick thing started it, and the George Floyd thing finished it. Um, when they cater to that garbage, the hell with them. Um, I'm not any part of that no more, and they will not see me ex- paying anything to support it. Uh, I can't. I just can't. Uh, it's like the NBA. No way. No way in hell. Um, the only the only two sports that I really enjoy. Um, the one I enjoy the most is hockey, and the second one that I enjoy the most is NASCAR. For a long while, NASCAR was on its last legs with me. It was dying off. Um, they were going down a road that uh, it wasn't didn't look good for it. Um, they they were just doing some dumbass stuff um, with this playoffs crap. Um, the dumbest move they ever made was doing that. Um, because it didn't crown a true champion. And that's not hard to debate. Um, when you're looking at a sport like racing, um, it's not like any other sport. Um, when you have racing, you got in a local track, you got 24 other cars on the track or 23 other cars on the track. So you're racing 23 other guys on a weekly basis. And so it's only right that the guy that accumulates the most points at the end of the season wins the championship out of those 23 guys or 24 guys. That's the only way it can be done. This crap of having, running so many races and having a regular season champion and then resetting the points for those that won. And then they get the race for a championship by themselves. And they have this 10 race playoff where uh, they race three races and then the bottom three of the points in the points of that they get cut off, and then they race three more and the bottom three get cut off again, and then three more and the bottom three get cut off again, and then the last race, the last four that are remaining uh, get to race for it, and then the one that's the top of the four is the champion. No, that's not the champion, because you could have a guy that guy could have been 16th in the points, and then and just somehow lucks through it all and gets to be the champion. No, that's not the champion. Nope. Nope, 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 nope. Not even close. Um, and then this stage racing crap. Um, if they want to have stage racing, fine. They can do it. Just don't throw the yellow. Throw that green and white checkered at the point that that stage is completed, and assign the points to the top 10 like you've been doing, but do not throw the yellow flag. There is absolutely zero reason you need to do that. Um, they, it just takes away from the strategy of running a 500-mile race. The point of running a 500-mile race was you run it under green and you strategize on tires and you strategize on fuel. And if, you know, something goes wrong and you guess wrong, that puts you in the back, then so be it. If you strategize and you guess right and you're at the front, so be it. That's the whole point of racing. And besides that, that's how local track guys that end up moving up, that's the whole point of getting to the Cup Series, because they learned over the years by running the local tracks of learning how to manage their equipment, manage the tires to get to that point where they can run whole green flag runs by managing the tires and equipment and the fuel to get to where they need to be able to do the strategy that the crew chiefs and the teams require. Not running from stage end to stage end. That's not that's not what it's about. This whole crap, it ruins it. It ruins it. There's no strategy involved anymore. Get rid of it. I miss the days of being able to watch a race from green flag to checker with no cautions at all. You want to talk about excitement? That was it. To watch a race go from the green flag to the checker and run 500 miles straight, no yellows, that was exciting. That was exciting. Especially to see one at a short track. I saw it happen at North Wilkesboro. That was crazy. A short track, no yellows. Holy cow. That was some intense racing right there. Because they were, oh, let me tell you. Like I said, that was intense racing. And it was fun to watch. But you never see it now. Not going to happen. Not with a stage garbage and throwing the yellow at the end of a stage. To hell with that. Hell with that. Let them race. And the hell with this overtime crap. Race to the advertised distance. If it's 400 miles, the checkered flag comes out at 400 miles, no longer. The advertised distance is the advertised distance, period. If it happens to end under yellow, that's what happens. I understand you want to give the fans a green flag finish. It went how many years? 50 years? The first 50 years of NASCAR, you had yellow flag finishes. Hey, it survived those 50 years just fine. In fact, it was still on the upswing when it was doing that. Then all of a sudden, all the changes made, and it started the downswing. I remember when all these grandstands were being built at Charlotte Motor Speedway and Martinsville and at Bristol and all these tracks that I attended. And now every one of those grandstands is gone. Why? Because they made changes that drove people away. They can't fill these racetracks now. And the racetracks don't care because they get TV money. They get the money from the TV networks. They don't care if they fill the racetracks. And if I were the track owner, I'd want my racetrack full. I'd want it to be full on TV. I want to be able to say, hey, my track's sold out. I want to say that. Well, let's see. Well, you drop the price of the tickets instead of having $125 a seat. You don't need to be charging that kind of money. If you're getting that kind of money from the TV networks, drop the price of the seats. You don't need to be charging that much for seats. Drop it in half. Fill that track up. Drop the prices of your concessions too a little bit. Drop it by a quarter. You don't need to be charging $15 for a hamburger. Drop it in half. You'll sell more of them. Let the people enjoy the race. I guarantee you'd make more money by doing that. Filling the racetrack up. You'll have the TV money and you'll have a full racetrack and you'll have concession sales, souvenir sales, all that stuff. You'll be making a killing. It's not that hard to figure out. But they don't care. They don't care. It's not the same NASCAR. The one good thing, other good thing that I saw that was a good change was they stopped the Roval garbage at Charlotte Motor Speedway. They went back to having both races on the oval. Best move ever. That's what that track is made for. Now, if they lost 100 miles in the fall, it'll be a 400-mile race instead of a 500-mile race, which is kind of sad, but at the same time, the kids today have zero attention span, so I can understand why. It'll be about a 2.5 hour race instead of a three. But hey, at least they're back on the oval. And that oval produces the greatest racing out there. Always has. So hopefully this season will make me back following NASCAR again. Still hate the friggin' car. It is a junk car. They need to make some changes to it. They need to do something to it badly. Badly. I mean, now the Chevrolet is a fictional car. Chevy doesn't even produce a car that, I mean, it's a fictional car. It's a car that doesn't have anything to do with what's on the street. There's no car that that Chevy makes. It's the race car. So now they're pulling stuff out of thin air. Ford's got to run the Mustang, and Toyota's what is it? This the crap. The what is that car that they run? I'm drawing a blank. Oh, I'll get it one of these years. But whatever Toyota's running, which doesn't even really look like it either, because it's the rear end of that car is all fabricated. It doesn't look like the Toyota being run on the street. It looks like a Mustang. Um, anyway, I really firmly believe they need to go back to what's on the street. They used to do this, and this was really a good idea. And I think they should go back to it in some form. They used to take about a dozen streetcars that came off uh, uh, the factory line, and they used to take them and make templates from them that would they would put over the race car, and they had so many templates, and the race car had to match the templates. So basically, they had to look like the street car and match the templates. They had a little bit of tolerance, not much. So basically, the cars that were on the racetrack were what the manufacturers were selling. The last car that matched the actual street car that ran in NASCAR was the Ford Thunderbird back in the mid 90s. That's the last time that happened. Hasn't happened since. The cars have been totally fabricated, made up. It, they've let NASCARs just went nuts, letting them modify them however they want. And I've been against that ever since. But anyway, that's this. I'm trying to get back to where they need to go back to that. The reason is it forces the manufacturers to actually come up with a car that is raceable. Put the responsibility back onto the manufacturer to make a car that's race worthy and race ready. And that way it takes the responsibility off of NASCAR to come up with this stupid parody crap. Oh, we got to make it where it's fair. No, let the manufacturers figure it out like they used to. I know for a good period there, Ford had it figured out with the Thunderbird. Oh, they kicked everybody's behind with the Thunderbird. They figured it out, and for about an 8-year period, they were spanking everybody's behind, and that caused the Aero Wars. And but that was Ford's doing. They worked on it, they figured it out, and the other manufacturers could not come up with a way to beat them. And now, hey, so be it. But they need to go back to that. They need to have the manufacturers come up with it. They need to go back to steel bodied cars so they don't so these idiots aren't doing this door slamming and everything else on the racetrack. There need to be consequences for that kind of crap. Though they need to be bending these fenders and quarter panels in on the tires and cutting tires and everything else. So there's consequences for all this garbage. It will quit. They will quit knocking the hell out of one another and crashing each other. It needs to be clean racing again. You watch how fast people come back and start watching. That's just my 2 cents anyway. Thank you for checking in. I appreciate it. I really do. Please watch out for one another. Keep your nose out of your phones when you're walking around. Be vigilant. Always know what's going on in your surroundings. There are a lot of bad people out there right now that are waiting to make you a victim. Don't fall for it. Just keep your eyes and ears open. Help others when you can. Please don't let somebody that's a victim have to fight alone. Help them. Just take care of one another. Take care of yourselves. And just please, please watch out for yourself. It's a cruel world right now. Very cruel world and a very evil world we're in. I can't stress that enough. Thanks for checking in. This has been Real Thoughts with Bob Benham. I am Bob Benham. Again, take care of yourself. God bless you. God bless the United States of America. Until next time, take care. Bye bye.